You know I only want the best, it's true. I can't believe the things I do for you. Okay,
What you won't do.
I'm sitting here tripping. I just found out. I'm sitting here watching. Was it Dev? Who's that one comedian?
What you won't give.
Kevin. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just found out that he's white. The guy who sings "What You Do for Love" is white. What the fuck, man?
I don't know why he's tripping. In the 70s, everybody had to bring it. In the 70s,
true,
live band, and they had the original music, and it was some bomb ass band.
I'm not gonna lie. I listened to the Eagles. I listened to the Average White Band. So
War, all that shit.
What up, y'all? Blackie Chan, 1970.
Sorry it took so long. We're recovering. We're older.
We're recovering from Comic-Con.
Black Panther.
Yep, Black Panther. Blackie Chan, 1970.
Ms. Lavar 007.
And we are here. It's interesting. We're talking about white bands. We were ready to do a review for Black Panther. By the way, I don't know if I could say this is a spoiler review because it's been a month, and if you haven't seen the motherfucking film by now, then I don't know what to tell. Sorry for you.
No, but honestly, get to the theater and see it. And normally,
please do so.
I'm not the spoiler person. I usually hate spoilers, but by now, I would hope everyone has kind of pretty much seen it.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
We're gonna jump into this real quick. Mainly, unless I can honestly say, unless I'm nitpicking, there's very little that I can find wrong with this film.
Okay. Go ahead and talk.
So, it's just a matter of... the only problem I had with the film was the idea that you could link or fix an ideology onto a simple ideology like Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King onto Killmonger versus T'Challa. I think that the story was broader than that. I think the conflict between these two men was broader than that.
Oh, extreme!
And I did love that they drew in the African versus African American conflict into the film. I thought that bringing that in was a way of validating this film and making it what I like to call a love letter, not only to black people, but to a concept called Pan-Africanism, which was largely spearheaded by Marcus Garvey, and also taught widely by the late Dr. John Henrik Clarke. But that conflict and the fact that it was a conflict born from Wakanda's isolation and a way of doing things that was no longer valid. I won't say no longer valid because it was necessary for its time, but it was time to evolve. And I thought that was what, Shuri, portrayed so wonderfully by Letitia Wright, was trying to say. She wasn't trying to spit in the face of Wakandan tradition. She was trying to say it can be improved upon and we can be broader. We can do more. And Lupita shared that. Lupita's character, Nakia, shared that ideology as well.
I think they did a really good job of making it. For me, it was more complex than what maybe normal people watch. For me, on a film level and just on a storytelling level, there were so many layers to it. Like there was Wakanda's internal issues, there was African American internal issues, and there was them going against each other conflict. Then it was the black and white conflict. They were very bold and straightforward, and I think some of this stuff has to be handled that way because if we keep trying to tiptoe, obviously it's not working. The we shall. I hate to say that, but sometimes we shall overcome is important. But if you're getting the same results, which is nothing, you might want to think about a different plan. I'm not saying get violent. I'm not saying anything like that. But sometimes you have to go internally to yourself and fix your own self before you can intermingle with anybody else.
I think you basically have to ask yourself: is a certain strategy or course of action valid after a certain time period?
Right.
I remember Dr. John Henry Clarke saying a strategy should never be a way of life. A strategy is something you use the same way you use an orange. If the juice is gone, toss that shit in the garbage can. You can't keep using the same ideology or the same strategy or the same course of action over a period of time. You have to evolve and you have to grow and you have to change, and it has to fit the time.
But you have to understand, change is really hard for some people. It's on a global. It's more on a global level. Like the stuff that we take for granted, it's just like everyday shit to us.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't used to be everyday shit. With each generation and each thing changing, more stuff becomes what we call normal or mainstream. But that doesn't mean it's right. That is, I mean, to me, it's like a whole bunch of sheep just following people. And for me, this movie got really deep, like I said, into tons of levels. When they were talking about colonists,
colonizers.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, I
that was brilliant,
I was cracking.
by the way.
I cracked up because I didn't expect for them to get that bold.
Mm-hmm.
But when they did get that bold, I realized this is not going to be the movie that I thought it was. It changed a lot just based on the dialogue. I think each individual character represented a whole group of people, not just that one character. I think it represented a whole bunch of people, even with the people who decided to leave Wakanda and be on the outskirts in the in the snow and the mountains. That's still another internal conflict that they showed, that they showed internally before the African American even got involved in that.
That there was already a certain amount of division,
right,
so to speak.
And what I liked about it was I think they fairly represented each side fairly, and that's very difficult to do.
It was very balanced.
It was really hard to say that they didn't, and they showed the good and bad in each. Like nobody's perfect. People have things they need to work on. Wakandans are not perfect. The Killmonger, you're not perfect. And it was so deep just doing the cousins and the brothers. Like, if you don't get it, then I'm sorry.
It really was. And what I found so beautiful and so tragic about Killmonger, when T'Challa, after the challenge, after M'Baku's challenge and defeating M'Baku early in the film, and re-ingesting the heart-shaped herb, which gave the Black Panther his abilities,
right.
And you're buried in the sand, and you go into the ancestral realm, which is a play or a take on the astral plane, so to speak. But you basically see
realm.
It is a spiritual realm where you see all your ancestors. In T'Challa's case, he saw all of the Black Panthers before him, including in particular his father.
Lineage.
When Killmonger ingested the heart-shaped herb and went to his ancestral plane, he only saw his father.
Well, that's because that's all he had ever known. That's because that was his
environment.
It was
all he's ever known. But you would think that it would have shown that. But it showed, no, I loved it. It showed how we were cut off.
And we don't know.
How African Americans were cut off.
And how we don't know.
And how we don't know. And how, and the discussion that he had with his father. Where he said, he said, my main concern is that if you return, you won't be welcome there.
Right.
And then Killmonger's response, of course, was, well, maybe they're the ones that are lost. That's why they can't find us.
And things like even that conversation were beyond deep. Like that was some stuff like some people really just didn't get. And mostly the people who always say, oh, well, this film is this, the people are like, oh, like, okay. When I first saw this on my Facebook page, I put, oh my God, I just saw Black Panther. This movie will change your life. Go out and see it. So I had people who didn't know what Black Panther was. And that's okay because really, unless you're into the comic books,
I don't know if
really
that's okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a problem with that.
No. Because first of all, there's a lot of people who don't watch TV anymore.
Okay.
They only on their laptops. They only go straight to the show they want to watch. And a lot of people are not into the comic books, so they've probably never even heard of any of these characters. They probably don't even know it exists. So to be fair, people were like, hey, is that a Black Panther, pro-Black Panther movie? It's like, no, it's a Marvel film. And one of my friends was like, come on. I was like, no, seriously. It's deeper than you realize, and it's really important. I told him, if you're a Black person or a person of color and you watch this one, I guess I wouldn't say person of color, but I'm going to say if you're a
person of African descent.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you don't understand this, you are in a sunken place. That's a bold statement, but I'm telling you,
I'm sorry, I had to.
What they did, even if you didn't understand it on the complex level, the surface was they even made it for the most simple person to get it. And I think that's why so many people are getting angry, is because they're seeing some stuff they don't think we should be talking about, number one. And number two, people feel really angry. Now, this is for the racist white people who have a problem with this film. Who are you that you have a problem? What it shows to me for these racist people is that no, you won't understand, because you seem like you feel like you have to understand everything. Everything you have to be nosy, get involved.
And sometimes it's okay to not get something.
No, it's not for them. They have to know everything.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's okay to not get something. Maybe it's not for you, and that's okay.
Hold on, but for them, it's not even about not understanding. It's about I need to be part. I need to be involved. I need to be
Oh
involved in
yeah,
everything.
one of my good friends' page. Remember X's page where that one person felt it was he felt like he was being isolated because he wasn't allowed to be in on this on the. And because he wasn't allowed to be in on it, it was an insert. It was a black thing. Our Generation X, we used to have those T-shirts. It's a black thing. You wouldn't understand.
And nobody was mad back then. We used to.
Oh no, we had people that were mad, but we just shut that shit down.
But it wasn't on this level.
Yeah.
And we wore African medallions. We wore
Malcolm
cross
hats.
colors, all that shit. That was part of our generation, and we proudly did it. And nobody had people. Just it was what it was. I don't have a problem with anybody having pride for who they are. Have pride for who you are.
No, I respect everyone's.
Please do.
I tell people this all the time. I respect everyone's life or everyone's right to love their own people.
Oh yes,
please. Their own kith and kin right. Above everything else.
And I can't.
And I will steadfastly defend my right to do the same in my case.
But see, that's the problem. It's a do as I say, not as I do. This is for the racist white people.
Only for them.
If you're mad about this movie, what does that really say about you? I don't think you know your own history. You don't even know your own history.
Much less that of Africans or African Americans.
And then you'll have the nerve to sit here and tell somebody what we like, what we do, what we say. Mm-hmm. And you have no authority because you've never been in our shoes.
If I may,
you can never be in our shoes. I don't care if you get a tan. You can never be in our shoes.
That was one of the main issues with some of the detractors that I had, who was a person of color but was not of African descent, who was trying to. But the main thing I'm saying is we have people who are not of African descent trying to dictate to black people what the cultural significance of this film is, what the cultural impact of this film is.
They're used to doing that, though.
They're very used to doing that. What I found that the impact is that there's a dialogue happening. We have black parents who are teaching black children to either teach them about true African monarchs, both male and female, and we have a plethora of them. We ran civilizations for a very long time. We ran nations, and we ran them well. That was my hope for this film, that we would be encouraged to study real African kings, real African queens, real African dynasties that went on for a long time. A lot of people don't know. Africa had 3 golden ages. A lot of people don't know that.
Man, you better stop lying. That ain't never happened.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. See, front.
But that's what I've argued with people about.
Absolutely.
This is imaginary. And I'm happy that the children are embracing it, because we could have a generation of kids that say, I don't want to know about that, but they're so happy and they're embracing
the videos that we saw of kids getting ready to go see the fundraisers,
people just getting
GoFundMe campaigns,
so important.
Black Panther challenges.
Because it's a hero. It's a hero represented. So it's like, okay, one of my friends got angry and said there's no such thing as reverse racism. We're not going to get deep into that. But anyway, this is someone I love dearly. I've been knowing since elementary school. But he's so confused. Let me break something down. I can't be racist to you. I haven't. If you give me the power I'm supposed to have, I have the ability.
Prejudice, yes.
Yeah.
Prejudice, absolutely. Yeah. And black people are not immune from prejudice.
Sorry, did I say
prejudice? For prejudice.
We're not beyond being wrong, being assholes.
No, and history,
doing some foul shit. Matter of fact,
doing some foul
Comic-Con, we found some black people were doing some foul stuff to some people who were doing fundraising for children. We were at Comic-Con. These really nice gentlemen. So white
Sentinel
gentlemen.
Seattle. Shout out to Sentinel Seattle, by the way.
But matter of fact, him and his I guess his counterpart, his homeboy,
his Filipino, yep.
He played Black Panther. And something really rude happened to him. A parent tried to ask, "Are you black underneath?" And they did this.
No, they found out he wasn't black, and then they outed him.
They told him to take his costume off in front of the children. Now, these were sick children, and these were children who were just there to feel better. And for a parent to be that disrespectful and bring that out right there, they could have waited to the end and pulled that to the side. That's ignorant black people who do stupid prejudice.
History has not made Africa or her descendants an exceptional case. We are capable of
human beings are human beings, but that's what all people need to understand.
But the main thing that has to be understood with institutionalized racism is that this particular brand is purely a Eurocentric concept. And that in the case of this, are black people capable of being racist? Yes, if they have the power to do so.
Right.
But in this particular construct, it is impossible. In this particular structure, this power structure that we have in America.
And how emotionally childish, the emperor's new clothes mentality do you have to have in order to be upset to see someone besides white in certain things? If you can't handle, people are complaining that there's only 1 or 2 white people in this film. My whole life, I've had to watch everything white. You can get over it.
Lord of the Rings.
But I'm just saying, why can't
Star
people get over it?
Wars.
Because you're afraid? Are you afraid? Like, what are you really afraid of?
That's what, exactly. If this film says this doesn't, it challenges what I represent, well, then the question becomes, what do you represent? Just a thought.
One to grow on. Okay.
Just a thought.
Anyway, we should do our shout-outs. And
definitely.
Real quick, before we do our shout-outs, this is going to be a part 1. We're going to talk about other things, more detail. This will just be a part 1 of our Black Panther review. But we're going to do a quick shout-out. Sorry, my bad.
No, absolutely. First of all, shout-outs to Sentinel Seattle, Mitchell Delgado, who we met at Comic-Con. Wonderful cat.
Very talented
talented cosplayer. Shout out to who's in the Deadpool and Domino. Do you remember them?
No, but I'll get them shot on part 2. We'll
absolutely.
Get you guys. Ricky Whittle,
Yatidi Badaki, who both star on American Gods, and Yatidi was so kind to our daughters. Had one of our 17-year-olds crying because outside of this wonderful queen here, she had not seen powerful black women, and I'm like, wait till she sees Black Panther. She still hasn't seen Black Panther yet.
No, on the television.
On the television or film.
We are grateful. We met so many amazing people. We haven't talked about it yet. We're going to find out a little bit more information, but there's maybe a career change we might make at some point.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you guys have no idea. And it would be the best job in our lives if we got to do that. It would be amazing.
Special shout out to my black YouTubers, Pretty Brown and Nerdy, Struggle Nation, Tyrone Magnus. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. I love what you're saying about Black Panther. I love the fact that you guys are getting attention, even more attention. You guys were already great, but the fact that Black Panther has now started to catapult you, you guys are getting interviews with more people of color who are in this industry, and that was the power, the beauty of Black Panther. They said that our films couldn't travel. And now it's over $500 million internationally outside of the US.
They're in the billions.
I was just talking about internationally because they knew it could do well domestically.
I told him, hold up, before this even came out, I said they're gonna break $1 billion. I
knew we could, but to see it, she called it.
I knew
she called it first though. I credit where credit is due. She called it, but the fact that it did so well internationally. I knew it was going to do well domestically, but it crushed the bullshit narrative that our films can't travel.
What do you mean? And they made it in Africa, and Africa exactly out with the prices. They went to go see it in the theaters. People in China, it was huge.
But the beauty of it, and the biggest beauty of it, is that now that it's done, it had this success, this monumental success, Chris says, we can continue to make more of them. That's the beauty. We can make more of them now.
We have to be careful with that, though.
I know. No, make good ones. Please make good ones.
I'm going to shout out to Stranger Comics.
We met at Comic-Con.
Niobe is a comic series based off Strange Comics.
Based off Stranger Comics, I think it is.
Stranger Comics?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry.
Based off the young lady from the first Hunger Nations film. What is her name?
The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. Sorry, Hunger Nations.
She writes this, and it's based off of her. Go to Stranger Comics on Instagram. Miss Livewire 007, Instagram.
Darth Mendacious. And check that out, please.
Go to Stranger Comics.
Please do.
We've been and it's so crazy. We met so many people that are just finding us. Like, people are like, "Oh my God, we love you guys. You're so great. We love talking to you." Go on our Facebook page. We have videos of our interactions. We have pictures. We're gonna get it all together.
Absolutely.
Part 1. We love you guys. Sorry it took so long.
Please, again, Post your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you thought of this part 1 of the Black Panther review. Let us know what you think about some of the concepts, some of the ideologies. Challenge us on some of the historical narratives.
You don't have to agree.
That have been blown up now with Black Panther. Challenge us about the cultural significance of this film and what it means. And if you liked our reaction, our review, please smash that like button like your gamma radiated, please. And as always, subscribe. We love all y'all. Peace, 2 fingers. Wakanda forever. We out. Don't you bounce. Don't you bounce. I knew you were going to bounce, Debbie. Get off this damn video.
Should have told me not to.
Bye. Bye, y'all.
This is back in my day. We used to do it like
Not the bigot. I'm done. Bye.
We used to swing our arms.